Welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your something. Right. So, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We're here with Mum again, and we're continuing to read my book, Thriving at Nature's Pace. Do recommend it to people. It's about a new approach to climate change. And I'm here with Mum. We're in London, and I was just telling Mum about that. I've got the dog at the moment. It's my daughter's dog. She's having her kitchen done, and we got two cats. So they are finding out about each other and how to get on.
Can the cat walk down the steps?
Yes, and the dog as well. So they do chase each other a little bit, but mostly they stare at each other. They go staring, and and then the cat arches the back, and then Jamie, who's the dog, kind of runs along, gets a little closer, and he's a very very sweet dog. I don't know what kind of dog he is. He was a rescue dog from Romania. Quite an interesting story. My daughter's girlfriend, got her from an adoption. They came in a van from Romania with the dogs, and then she thought, "Oh, she's so cute," and that's how it happened. So that was a long time ago, and he's been with us a good while. So we're reading my book, Thriving at Nature's Pace, as I mentioned. It's about a new approach to climate change, and I'm giving a talk later to this with a group in Malaysia. If anyone's interested, get in touch as well. And the basic idea is that we've got to stop thinking about it as a crisis. You can't live in a crisis all the time. If it's all the time there, it doesn't mean it's going to go away, but it does mean that we can actually think of it as the steps, the process towards a new future. And I think of it as being like birthing contractions, because my wife is a midwife. Because there will be waves of pain, there will be waves of difficulty, but it leads us somewhere. So that's why it's a new approach. So this section here is called Invest in Not Extracting Oil, Gas and Coal to Create Value. And it's about how we can think about where we can get value from. It's not always by using things up. Some value is actually there because we don't use it up, we can keep it around. It's a bit like our relationships, actually. If we keep using up our relationships, we have no relationships back. So we have to invest in our relationships, for example. So the location of oil, gas, and coal deposits are geographical accidents. It is a matter of pure luck that a country's borders are drawn around them. Yet, in spite of this, the harm that using these materials cause, no politicians will ever consider relinquishing their country's territorial claim. In fact, the opposite is true. The location of the oil and gas and coal deposits, whether on land or in the seas, is more likely to spur countries to redraw their boundaries to include them. It is undoubtedly because these deposits are seen as money. And of course, we've got that at the moment with Greenland. We've got one country, which is a big country, but the richest country in the world, claiming it, apparently on securities ground, and that's what we do. Hi, everyone. So some people have joined, so we just want to say hi. And this is my mum, Eleanor. She's going to be 91 soon. And we're reading my book about a new approach to climate change. So not seeing it as a crisis, but seeing it as a way to our future. So going back to the thing, it therefore begs this question: is it possible to make money without taking the oil and gas and coal out of the ground? This has happened already. Some governments sell the ownership of the mineral deposits to people and companies. Coal mines are often sold intact, and concessions on oil and gas fields are frequently bought and sold before the oil and gas are extracted. However, these transactions happen because the buyers intend to make money by extracting the oil and gas and coal. That's how the price for the deposits is set. So, hi, more people joining. So please do. This is a really interesting bit in this book, because it talks about how we can actually get value without having to keep digging them out. So how much then can a buyer make back if they do not dig the oil and gas and coal out? Is it possible to make enough to profit? Imagine an investor wanting to invest in a coal community. Maybe the investor comes from the community and wants to see the area develop beyond coal. Whatever the motivations, if the community itself recognizes that its future with coal is coming to an end, the motivation to work with the investor is going to be stronger. The investor may then go to the co-owner and offer a deal. The investor can offer to buy some amount of the coal from the co-owner with a kicker that the coal the investor wants to buy is the coal that's still in the ground. This is good for the company because it doesn't need to incur any extraction costs to sell it. It does not need to take this coal out. This makes it essentially free money for the owner. All the company needs to do is to transfer the ownership title in their ledger for the coal. The investor imposes a condition on the purchase. The investor will do this on condition of a joint venture with the company in local business ventures. These ventures will use the money that comes from buying the coal. The company still gains because it's now selling the coal for a share of a venture it likes. The investor gains who wants to help the community develop beyond coal. And so accepting coal in the ground as joint venture investment capital creates a stimulus to the community to move away from coal. If the project proves profitable, then the investor can buy more coal that's in the ground to provide more money for the project. This makes the venture more attractive to the company as it locks in the next stage of capital financing. If it then looks good, the company and investor may raise funds externally from other investors on the same basis, that is, by first buying more coal that's in the ground. So that's like the idea that we basically use what we have and share it in order to make our investments. And when we do that, it doesn't have to be money. It can be just things that we consider as being valuable enough. And we can then go along through. And of course, when we do that, you can attract people who actually think, they like the coal not being dug up, and they can then go and buy the things that you make. For the company, the joint venture makes sense because it is a new business development to diversify its business. As a joint investor, it can decide on the business lines it wants to develop. The condition that it has to develop the local community may suit it well, since often that is where the talents of the company already are. In addition, coal mines often run into legal conflicts with local communities. This can bring a different engagement where the local community can see themselves as part of a future beyond coal. This reduces the cost of dealing with the tensions. The company can sell to the investor the coal that is not planned for the production for another 5 or even 10 years ahead. This keeps the company safe in its current business. But if the project expands and more coal is sold in this way, then its future in the coal business may change. It would therefore make sense for the company to develop new businesses to help it diversify and prepare. So what that's actually saying is if I'm the coal company, I can do this without having to stop what I'm currently doing. It's really the stuff in the future, because the stuff that we're currently digging out we need today anyway. This meets the investor's intention to develop the local economy beyond coal. The company, the investor, and the local communities are thus equally incentivized to engage. This synergy is a new take on existing investments. Businesses often use resources they have to buy a share of ventures they like. In this case, the resource that is used is coal that is staying in the ground. It starts from the value of the coal that's in the ground. The value created comes from keeping it in the ground to enhance the commercial attractiveness for all the parties involved. The investor gets better support from the community and can tap into the resources of coal business. The coal company has new capital that diversifies its own business and can do so with the expertise of an interested investor. And the local community has employment in new business that expands the local economy beyond coal. Okay, so I think maybe we'll pause here. What do you think? Let's stop here. I'm going to mark where we are so that we remember the next time. This is a short one. That's my magic pencil. And I mark where we can start next. So, because otherwise it goes on to the next thing and then we forget it. So, what do you think, Mum? It's quite a radically different idea. We do business together.
How do they know that the coal will stay there permanently?
Well, that's a very good question. How do you know that it will indeed? And we'll go on to that later. And the way we do that is you actually then give the title to nature. and you create new money that nature gives you back. So that's actually quite interesting because it introduces the idea that money can be something that comes from nature rather than something that we create. But it comes from nature because we don't destroy it. Whereas at the moment, money comes from us destroying nature to build it, to make things that we buy and sell. So this changes it and it gives us a balance. So I think of this as like the Chinese yamya, the yin and yang. So we have moment, we have one side only, and that's us. And here we introduce the other side, which is nature. And we have two monies. One comes from us, one comes from nature. The one that's us is all about taking things from nature. The one from nature is all about us giving back to nature. So now we can have a balance. And it changes the way we think about investments. As investments, in order to keep things intact rather than taking things from it, as well as investments that do take things from it, because we do need that too. So that's how we know we can do that. And of course, ultimately, you need young people to be involved because they are the ones who are going to be there in the future to say, I was involved in not taking it out, so I'm not going to take it out. You can't do it for them. As you know, Mark, because you've got lots of young people. Okay, so I'm going to pause here. Thank you, everybody. It's been lovely to have you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So we'll